Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. As we continue to navigate all 12 months of January, we have some financial solutions for you. If you have a startup or small and medium enterprise, this morning you want to tune in and listen up because we have some good advice coming down from FirstLink Business Solutions. Representing them is the Managing Director, Richard Oliver, and Senior Associate, Shanique Simmons. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thanks for having us.
Not a problem. How are you guys doing this morning?
Great, no complaints.
Yes. All right, so Richard, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit about FirstLink Business Solutions.
So FirstLink is essentially an accounting and advisory firm. We were created to provide specialized finance and technology solutions to small and medium-sized businesses. Accounting is basically the language of business, but not a lot of small business owners know how to speak the accounting language. So essentially, we created our model to be more than just an accounting firm. It's get to be essentially a wingman to a business owner, helping them understand their financials and dissect it to make data-driven, actionable decisions.
Okay, and that's always very interesting for me because people who the industry I'm in, which is culture and entertainment, right? Creative industries, we tend to struggle with that aspect of it in a big way, and I see it all the time. Shanique, tell me some of the challenges that you've seen small businesses have when it comes to accounting.
So some of the challenges I saw is with regards to the accounting processes. So not specifically accounting, but business processes also.
Okay.
And whether it be small, medium, large businesses, with employees of a single owner, 1 to 5 persons, or even larger, it boils down to business processes.
Okay.
So one of the things that I recognize with organizations is some of the processes are not in place in order to facilitate it. And once you have processes, it makes it a bit more easier to run your operations. So I would start with saying having strong business processes to run your operations.
Okay. Do you guys only serve people in the Caribbean, or you do international as well, or how does it work?
So it's kind of interesting that you asked that, because within the last 6 months, we have been planning, providing marketing to serve clients within the U.S., specifically North America. So right now, we are in the process of launching a company, US-based clients, called CFO Lifeline.
Okay.
And it would be launched at the end of this month.
All right, that's fantastic. So that means you have a wider reach that you're going to be able to get now.
Correct.
All right, Richard, let me jump across to you. Why do you think that businesses need to know about things like, business owners in particular, they need to know about financial statements and how to create plans for the future?
So it's seen most times with small business owners, they look at it as after the fact historic information.
Right.
So their engagement with their accountant is maybe after the fact. They come, they do a financial statement, and they do their tax returns. And that is always going to be historic looking and doesn't get you looking into the future.
Okay.
And for a small business, that really is looking to grow and achieve financial success. They have to be able to look at their financial information and see how they can grow. So one of the ways we work with small business owners, as I mentioned, being strong in advisory, is being able to look at those financial statements and identify where you are today, where you want to go in the future, and understand the gap that exists between those two things, and create a plan. And when we create that financial plan of how we're going to get there, then monitor that financial plan. I earlier mentioned being a wingman.
Right.
And if you think about a wingman in full action, they're identifying where we are today, where we want to go, creating a flight plan.
Right.
But just because we have a flight plan, that doesn't mean that things are going to be smooth sailing. We may have to make adjustments to the course. And that's essentially why people should essentially look into their financial statement to create more strategic plans for the future.
Does it matter if your product that you're selling is a tangible one or intangible one?
No, again, accounting is the language of business overall.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's being able to appreciate what you're making, how much you're making it for, how much you're selling, what the margins are. At the end of the day, if you solve a problem, and that's something we have a lot in Trinidad, most people's form businesses because they see somebody doing something else, but they don't really appreciate what made that business special. There are a lot of persons who've tried to do an Amazon version in Trinidad, and maybe it hasn't worked. We still don't have a real version, local version. But it's because they took a business model and they don't understand what makes it work. And when you really try to understand the language of business, then those things become clearer for you.
Okay. So give me some quick advice that you can give to business owners to become more financially stable.
So I'm a strong believer, as I mentioned before, on processes.
Right.
So once you look at your operations and start putting procedures in place.
But what kind of procedures? Because you mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
But, and I understand the need for some kind of process to make sure things run smoothly. But let me just get into a little bit more the details.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me what kind of processes we need to have.
So let's look at payments from customers, right?
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, some of the processes that you could put in place is, let's say on the day that the invoice is due, you could send a reminder to the customer. You could, like 7 days after the invoices is due, if still no payment, if whether it's be a follow-up email or actually going on the phone and actually calling the clients as well. So certain things like those, some business owner may look, not see an oversight in looking at it. So, but once you have processes in place that employees themselves can follow as well, it makes it a bit easier for the operations to be run.
All right, so putting things in place so that everybody from top down understands that this is the process, this is your role in the process as well.
Correct, and it saves time for employees as well. So once you have a process, they could follow. They may just have questions coming out of that process as well. So it saves time as okay.
And what about some things that business owners can look forward to, Richard, to be able to avoid being in financial ruin?
So, given the current climate, we just had a raise of minimum wage,
Right.
$17.50 to $20.50, and since COVID, the prices of goods and services just been going up. So I think if I have to say one thing that small businesses should be looking at to prevent financial ruin is understanding their costs in providing a service or selling a product. And for me, that means that you need to understand your break-even point. That moment where your total cost equals your total revenues. And to do so, you should really be engaging with your advisor, your accountants proactively, looking at your gross margins on selling a product, providing a service, because essentially a business doesn't fail overnight. There are trends in the wrong direction, and if every month you are looking at those trends, you tend to see, well, I was selling this product as a 40% margin. It's gone down to 37, it's gone to 35, it's gone to 30. If you look at those things, then you can appreciate that I need to raise my prices. I need to source cheaper materials. I need to put something in place than just stay here and
hope for the best.
And hope for the best, you know. And once business owners are being proactive in how they manage their affairs and understanding that it always comes back to that accounting, those financial statements, and using it in the right way.
Okay, this is always very interesting because, I mean, we can take it from, we're talking about businesses, right? During this carnival season, we always see lots of businesses popping up. Everybody who want to sell food at the side of the road, who's selling water, who's selling drinks, or whatever the case may be. But they may not have the opportunity to do that months of evaluation. So what advice would you give to those small enterprises that just come up for the carnival and disappear and go about what they're doing? We could call it a hustle, we could call it whatever, but should they approach it with the same financial tenacity?
Yes, same approach, so whether you're a single person or a 100-person firm, it all comes back to financial recording. You need to be tracking your revenue and your expenses and trying to see, did I make a profit?
Right.
Because if you came out and you sell coconut water on the side of the streets this year and you didn't make a profit, we're not measuring if we made a profit, then we don't know if we should do it next year.
Right.
So we come to do it next year. We keeping at the same price, but products may have gone up. The rent that we're paying to National Carnival Commission could have gone up. We all still need that basic accounting, regardless of if it's a mom and pop shop or a big conglomerate.
What advice would you give to persons who might be overspending for carnival?
Okay.
Because I know everybody just want to go everywhere and do everything. And you might want to invest in your business and say, all right, I'm going to go hard because I'm seeing people outside. So I'm selling my bacon shack and I'm going to buy plenty because people go be buying plenty. But then you end up with a lot in ruin. So how do you balance that?
What I think the starting point should be is creating a budget. And not only creating a budget, but creating a budget in line with your income. So looking at that firstly, and also based on actual expenses that would have been incurred, looking at your expenses based on your budget. Because you could have a budget, but as Richard mentioned, prices, things are going up. So you could be overspending, but looking at it from your actual expenses, comparing to your budget, and let's see what areas that you might have had expenses with that you could have cut down in the past.
Okay. But if I don't have the idea of income yet, so for example, let's say I want to start for the very first time, I'm going to go and sell, I don't know, sweetie, I decided to do, right? And I say, all right, I want to start my business. I do a plan, but I have no idea what the income is going to be because I don't know how much people are going to actually buy it. It's the first time I'm doing it. So how do I approach it from that perspective?
What I would say is probably looking at persons within the industry to just have an idea of what are some of the main expenses that you may incur, and start with that.
So research is important.
Correct.
If you're going to open any business. You need
Correct.
to start with research so you have an idea of how to financially plan. All right. What about loans? How do we feel about loans?
Oh, that's interesting. So I'm a firm believer that you should be leveraging the bank financing to foster, like, to bolster your business growth and generate wealth.
What does that mean?
So use other people's money to make money, right?
I love that. That is as simple as it gets. Use other people's money to make money.
But
Tell me how we doing that.
you see, we have to be careful because whether or not a small business loan is good or bad depends on probably two things. One, the type of product you've selected, and two, the use you've put it to.
Okay.
So we have credit cards, we have overdraft, we have term loans. Credit cards are a really good opportunity to pay foreign suppliers for goods and services because of the forex shortage. But at the end of the day, they come with a very high annual interest rate, around 24%. Now, most small business owners, the way they use a credit card is that they max it out, and then they only pay when they need to buy something.
Yeah. When it's been there to
When you
buy
buy
something.
so you
Oh,
pay the
Lord.
minimum because you may
Right.
not have had the money. You may have
Right,
gone
right.
and use your credit card and max it out just to be able to afford the products and services.
Right.
And that's why I mentioned about using it the right way. So use that way. You are now incurring 24% interest per year, when you could have actually used the interest-free component of it and then pay off the credit card balance. The same applies for overdrafts. Great product for short-term financing, but it's really to meet a gap between your cash flow when you have more money going out than is coming in. But again, small business owners will get their overdraft and they'll operate at the maximum. Right? Always, so it's a overdraft is 100,000. They're always in the 90s, somewhere there. And those products attract some of the highest interest rates in financial products in the country. So yes, small business loans are great for businesses to be able to leverage and go and generate wealth, but how you use it is equally important.
That's good. So it's balance. It boils down to having the right amount of balance. How do people get in contact with you guys if they want to reach out and get some more info?
Okay, so they could contact us via telephone. Our number is 610-0501, or at our website, which is firstlinktt.org, or via email, which is info@firstlinktt.org.
All right. And social media?
No.
No, I see on Facebook, and a LinkedIn here,
Oh,
man.
right, sorry. That's correct.
Whatever Facebook and LinkedIn says FirstLink TT.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, at FirstLink TT, you can find them on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. And I suggest you give them a call if you have a small or medium enterprise and you want to get some more financial solutions or some more just discussion and conversation, because I think you guys have a lot of information here, and it's very, very important information, especially if you're going to start, if you've been operating a small and medium enterprise. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No problem. Pleasure.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you stay tuned because we have a lot more on the Now Morning Show. Stick around.